Hello, and welcome to another basketball edition of the Adrienne Ross Show. I put out a video a couple days ago in which I talked about 5 things that I would do ASAP if I were the WNBA commissioner. A lot of great feedback on that. One of the things I talked about was presentation. I said that I would make sure everyone with a public presence in the WNBA undergo media training because it's all in the presentation. And just in the last couple days since that video came out, I see 2 examples of that. One involves the Indiana Fever. The other involves DiJonai Carrington as the opposite of what we want to see. So the first one, some of you have probably seen it. It's really funny. It is a post-game interview. It's the game when the Indiana Fever defeat the number 2 team, the Connecticut Sun. And at the post-game interview, we had Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexie Hull. And Lexie Hull was asked a question, and she answered the question, which caused Caitlin to lose it. And she didn't want to lose it on her own. So she looks over to Kelsey Mitchell, who also loses it. And I'm going to show this to you. Now, they weren't trying to be vulgar at all. They kind of walked into the situation and couldn't keep it together. So I'm not trying to be vulgar in showing it. They weren't trying to be vulgar either. But I'm going to show it to you. And then I'm going to come back and tell you how this fits in to what I was talking about the other day. All right, here we go.
Thank you. I would say that's kind of my role.
Respectful.
That's kind of, a reason that I'm out there is to try to make an impact defensively. And I know I was undersized going against DB. And so trying to just be as active as I could, get my hands on as many balls as I could, and take advantage of that. Caitlin? Yeah. We'll be done.
Oh, Lex.
We got a team that
This one's for Kelsey.
There you see the funny moment, and I got to tell you, I laughed and I laughed and I laughed. And again, I'm not trying to be vulgar. Lexie Hull certainly wasn't trying to be vulgar. Neither was Caitlin. Neither was Kelsey. It's just one of those situations where you find yourself in this moment and you just absolutely cannot keep it together. Now, a lot of times we just kind of, if we got a chuckle like Caitlin did, you just kind of chuckle to yourself. But I have a feeling she realized that there's no way I can keep it together, and I don't want to be out here. I don't want to be out here on this limb by myself. So I'm going to make sure that I get Kelsey Mitchell in on it also. But why am I bringing this out, and what does this have to do with what I talked about when I said if I were the WNBA commissioner, I would make sure that everyone goes through media training and understands that you have to present yourself a certain way. This is what I want to tell you. You may not know it, but when the Indiana Fever released the video of that post-game interview, that whole post-game interview, that portion was removed. The video I saw on YouTube did not have that in there. And you might be thinking, well, my goodness, why would they remove it? It's really not a big deal. But again, this goes back to what I'm saying. So hats off to Indiana, not because it was a huge deal, but because, as we said, every organization has to decide what is your target audience. I should say, who is your target audience? And the WNBA seems to suggest that they want to reach out and they want to appeal to young people. And then they have things going on that does the complete opposite. But you say you want to appeal to young people, and also you want to present yourself in a professional way. So there's no haterade towards Lexie and Caitlin and Kelsey. But now that we've got an opportunity to put together a video, we get to pick and choose how we want to present ourselves. That moment just happened. It was funny. Everybody who was there saw it and understood what was going on. But now we get the chance to make a decision about what we want to put out there. And that's not the image that they obviously chose to put out before their audience. So they left it out. To me, that's a good illustration of you knowing your message, knowing what you want your image to be, and being willing to make changes if it needs to be made. And they figured that it was funny for us here, but it didn't need to go out on our video for this particular interview. And so that's what I'm talking about when I talk about your presence, your how you present yourself, you having to understand what you want your message to be and who you're reaching for. So congratulations to them for making that decision, because it seems to fit what they want to fit. All right. On the contrast of that is DiJonai Carrington. DiJonai Carrington and her Connecticut son lost to the Indiana Fever. So what does she do? She gets on social media and she begins to denigrate the Indiana Fever fans. So I'll share the screen and you can take a look at the social media post she put up. She wrote, "The Indiana Fever have the nastiest fans in the W. Ew." So again, the Indiana Fever have the nastiest fans in the W. Ew. I don't know what they did to make her put this out on social media, but again, these players and everyone associated with the WNBA needs some sort of training. You don't denigrate fans. You don't disrespect the ones who are showing up or tuning in to your games. You don't disrespect the people you want to continue to show up. It's just not what you do. Well, Adrienne, it's her social media. I don't care. Like I said, if I'm the WNBA commissioner, that's a prime example of what you cannot have. You cannot come after fans and be disrespectful in that manner. And let's just be honest. If you're gonna insult any fans, it shouldn't be the Indiana Fever fans, because you know what? They're the fans. They're not the only ones showing up in Indiana. They're showing up everywhere Caitlin Clark is playing, which means they're putting money in the pocketbook. So no, we're not doing that. That's where the training comes in. They have no discipline. There's no regard for the way you carry yourself off the court, and obviously many times on the court. They've got to understand we can't do this. Now, let's address her comment about them being the nastiest fans. Well, she didn't give an example, so I don't know what that means, but I do know that they probably view her as being a little bit nasty. Earlier in the season, she tried to make it seem like Caitlin Clark was a privileged racist, or at least someone having white privilege, because she didn't want to speak on a certain issue. Actually, I shouldn't say she didn't want to speak on a certain issue. She spoke on it, but it still wasn't good enough. So she didn't like the answer. So now Caitlin has white privilege. So maybe the fans didn't like that. Maybe they thought that was nasty. And then during one of the games, you tried to pretend that Caitlin was flopping when she wasn't. She wasn't exaggerating in that instance at all. And you did the mocking thing. Maybe they thought that was nasty. I don't know. Then during this last game, Caitlin scores on you, and then you score and do the shh. I don't personally consider that nasty. That's just something that people do. I think Caitlin Clark came back and put it on you, took you all the way to the basket. You probably didn't like that. So then maybe you go back and then you're all ticked off because of that and the loss, and you don't seem to care for Caitlin at all anyway. So now they have the nastiest fans. Again, I didn't see any examples from DiJonai. I don't hang out on X, so I don't know, but I haven't seen anything there. But either way, again, if I am the commissioner of the WNBA, if I'm even her coach, that is not the kind of image we want to present. We don't degrade or disrespect the customers. Remember, the customers are always right. Okay? That's something we just don't do. And you ought to know that. That's part of business. And that's why the WNBA needs to get its act together. You don't disrespect any fans. You certainly don't want to disrespect the fans that are really bringing it. My goodness. They could go back to nobody watching them. Somebody needs to get a grip. All right, tonight I intend to go live for the Indiana Fever versus the Chicago Sky basketball game, of course, and I hope you join me there. We are on the 25,000 subscriber watch. We're on the watch for 25,000. Let's see where I am right now, because it's been getting closer and closer to that 25,000 thanks to so many people like yourselves. So let's take a look at where we are right now. We are currently, as you can see, at 24,994 subscribers. So we're on the 25,000 watch. And by the time I get this video up to you, uploaded, we may have reached it already, but that's where we are. So thank you so much for that. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Please like and share and comment respectfully. So again, tonight, Indiana Fever versus the Chicago Sky. Word on the street is that Kennedy Carter is not playing again. She's been out, and apparently she's still going to be out. We want to win this game. ESPN put that nonsense out, ranking Angel Reese above Caitlin Clark, and likely because they're trying to make a case again for Rookie of the Year and trying to suggest that, probably trying to set up the stage in case Indiana lost, but we're going to be in for it. So join me in the live if you can, and God bless you. I will catch you next time. Not only should God bless you, but bless you abundantly. I'll catch you soon. God bless.